Hi Scorpio, it's Jenny here, ready with your March Tarot horoscope. So we're just going to be pulling a single card for the month of March and see what's coming up for you this month. So the first 2/3 of March is going to be the end of Pisces season, and then an equinox we're going to be rolling over into Aries season. And as Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, it is the end of the energetic year, and then Aries is beginning a new energetic year. So there's going to be a lot of feelings of kind of like ending cycles, kind of like a New Year's vibe. And I got a card for you here. So we're going to see what's up for you, Scorpio. We have the Page of Swords. So this is what he looks like the right way up. So we have this young man here in this very red sort of uniform outfit. He's got a sword in one hand and this big long kind of feather or leaf fern quill here. And there's this big kind of like snake or sort of spinous creature here shadowed in the back. Lots of dark hues there. So that's what we've got for you here. We're just going to see what the book has to say for Page of Swords. Okay, Page of Swords. Mental agility. By adding air to a flame in the fire, to a body immersed in water, or to an object floating in air, it will become more buoyant and rise up. This is also true of the human mind, which is symbolically equivalent to the fire element. A well-functioning mind makes many things easier. Traditionally, the Page of Swords represents mental renewal and new thoughts, judgments, and decisions. In addition, Dali depicts a possible contradiction between apparently peaceful intentions, represented by the green twig in the figure's hand, and dangerous consequences, visible as the demon in the background. In a general sense, this card stands for everything new, for playful and experimental thinking. It warns you to beware of gullibility and ignorance, which might lead to powerless protests, general distrust, and erratic or dogmatic decision-making. Remain mentally fit. Look for rewarding tasks and challenges. Exploit your humor and your charm. Discover a new lightness of being. Avoid made-up statements and arguments. Work in a creative and attentive manner with the images that are in your head and in the heads of others. Practical advice. Take things more lightly. Take the sword into your own hands. Do not delegate your power of discernment to others. The value of a new idea cannot be judged by that which is, but only by that which will be. You might sense that the little bit that man can comprehend is much smaller than that which is. It makes a big difference whether or not you comprehend your individual contribution and put your abilities to good use in order to make life easier, more deliberate, and more fun for yourself and your fellow human beings. Okay, so this is an interesting one. This is going to be a not like a contradictory energy to the typical Scorpionic energy, but it's this invitation for lightness, of not being so like kind of heavily dredged into something, and not and also not, this is a beginning stage. So Page as in tarot is like this new beginner. It's like this student mindset, where everything's kind of fresh. But that also means that there is not any mastery yet. There isn't like a body of experience now. It's a whole new concept. So Page of Swords, swords being the element of the air, this is all about a new idea and a new thought. So as it says, the thing about a new thought is you can't look around right away and tell how valuable that new thought is, because it's so fresh and new. There haven't been consequences or anything sort of to show for what's going to come of it. So it's all about potentiality. It's what will this new thought bring about? What is possible with this new thought? So there's this element of creation, where we're going to be able to create something new. And it could go either way with this new thought, because we can't look and discern how well it's going to go, because we don't, it hasn't like had a chance to build any consequence yet. We could be creating something that's lovely and light with this kind of like this quill, this fern here. This could be creating a life and a new positive influence. Or we could either be kind of using the sword in a more militant way, and this could be a new thought that's more that has a little bit more potential for aggression or negative consequences, whichever it might be. And it might also not be one or the other. This is the kind of complexity and the excitement of a new stage, of a new possibility, as things could go either way or kind of be a mixed match of both. So there's a need for understanding caution and not being so, like, it is a new idea, you want to hold it lightly, so not being immediately connected or committed to like building this new idea because we haven't yet seen what's going to come of it. So there's a holding a light quality to it where you could go either way. So there's this invitation of lightness to it. Don't be so gripped on whatever might be coming up, because you still want to have agility. You still want to have flexibility. It's only as you build and this becomes a more robust kind of belief or frame of thought that then things get a little bit more solid, and you want to have a harder foundation, and then you don't want to go like be so agile. But for now, this is this beginning sense. But there is that little bit of a warning as well that experimental thinking can also lead to gullibility as well. So if there can be this idea of if somebody is presenting you with something new and fresh, there can be a thought, and this you can see a lot in like different kinds of like clickbait media or different kinds of things where what's new and flashy is the grab of, you know, out with the old and in with the new, and like, you know, you're nobody if you're not trying this new kind of fad, where you can kind of be like, oh yeah, okay, like you want to jump on the new and exciting sort of thing from a gullible manner or from somebody kind of leading you and like dangling it to you. So this is also this warning of not delegating your power of discernment to others, that you don't want to be caught in gullibility and being led around by somebody else because you're in this page-like state of like, you still don't really know what's up. You're still in a beginner's mindset. If you are in a student stage of learning something new, then you really want to know that you've put your trust in a good teacher or a good educator or a good leader. So if this is correct to be in a stage of still learning and not claiming to be the master, but the student still gets their own power of discernment. It is still on the student to say, oh, I don't really know if I really like what I'm receiving from this teacher. I don't know if I want to learn from this person. And you can up and leave and learn from somebody else because you are in that, you still have that agility of the student to not have been committed to mastery in any one thing. So this is an important time to use your discernment and not get discernment and mastery confused. So just because you have the ability to say that doesn't quite seem right, that doesn't mean that that has suddenly made you the authority on the topic, that now suddenly everybody needs to listen to you. So there's this sort of like, you're not beholden to any one teacher, but you also can't expect that you have the authority to be the teacher. You're kind of this like kind of solo entity in this case, with these kinds of possibilities, these new thoughts or belief systems. So that I'm going to pull out of the card for a minute and just jump into the kind of astrology right now. So as I said, the beginning of March is Pisces season up until the March equinox. And Pisces is, this is kind of an interesting mix here because Pisces season is ruled by Neptune, and it's the sign of like illusion and deception and the dream world and kind of what is more than real in this kind of imaginal realm. And so there's a lot of possibility for delusion and illusion and things being kind of foggy and not being clear. And so this can happen in the individual state where you can just kind of feel like you don't really know what's going on, or things that used to feel really clear don't, or even sometimes a desire for escapism of wanting to like kind of delude yourself, often with substance use or avoidance or addictive behaviors. And on a collective scale, this can be a lot of people kind of buying into a storyline or deluding themselves and following something without really using discernment, and things being quite obscure and just sort of going with it. So that can be a lot of what is going to be happening this beginning of March, and this kind of wanting clarity. But it's interesting for you that you get to bring in this sword, the clarity that cuts through the kind of haze. And so so you're kind of having this ability to navigate this time of potential, like everything kind of feels upside down and it's hard to get clarity. And you're kind of bringing in this invitation of like, no, like you are looking for clarity, but you're starting from fresh. You are, and maybe that's in reaction to this kind of Pisces nebulous feeling of like, I don't like this foggy feeling and I really want to get clarity. So I'm going to really commit myself to learning and commit myself to being a student of a new way or a student of a new idea. Or it might not be something that's in reaction to, it might just be that you are, because Pisces is not just about illusion, it's also kind of about like divine inspiration, where instead of learning or getting getting learning from clarity and structure and the world that is, and the very like, you know, linear, this is the way the world is. Instead of getting insight from that, it's more about kind of intuitive hits from the dream realm, or so inspiration that you can't quite flag to the tangible. And so you might actually be experiencing a kind of Piscean download of, I don't really know where that thought came from, but it just sort of felt like from almost like this cosmic download, or from the dream realm, or coming up from your unconscious, if that's the language that works for you more, rather than like energies in the cosmos. The unconscious realm is also part of Pisces, that dream world of just something that's come up and given you an aha insight, and that might be this new thought that you're pulling with the Page of Swords, coming out of that Pisces ocean of inspiration. And then once we hit the March equinox and we roll over into Aries season, that's when things get not quite like clear. The Aries is a fire sign. It's not an air sign. So we're not quite in the realm of mental clarity, but there's suddenly like more inspiration, and it's more about drive. Aries season is action, and it wants to move. So it's sort of this, which can be dangerous, because if people are still, if you or others are still in this like nebulous sort of following a delusion from Pisces season, then all of a sudden it's like a bunch of people that are blind stampeding somewhere once you hit Aries season of, we just want to go. And so if you aren't connected to a clear vision, or you aren't connected to clarity, when you hit that Aries energy of wanting to move, it could just be now running in the dark. So that's what you want to really be careful of, is that you are in this curious stage without being so committed to, like, you're wanting to create. Aries is about creation and a new idea and a new way of doing things. So it wants to get at the bit and it wants to go. But if you can temper that with knowing that you're still in this beginner's mindset, and that we're still coming out of this nebulous energy of Pisces, that you do want to use some discernment as you take on that Aries energy. So it can be like just the fire that cooks along without like burning you, or the fire that you're kind of waving indiscriminately because you're not having clarity. So that is going to be kind of an interesting pull for you. And Scorpio, that this is an interesting invitation for you, because you can often have this very like one of the elements of Scorpio is this like penetrative ability to cut deep into the heart of matters. That like scorpion penetrative tail of not really bothering with the fluff, or like not being satisfied with the superficial answer, and really wanting to get deep of, okay, what is underneath this? So that is going to actually be a really great element to get to bring, both to potentially this kind of Pisces sort of nebulous feeling of like, but what's at the heart? But what's at the heart? And even if you can't get through the fog and get to the heart yet, you at least know that there's always a deeper truth underneath the illusion. And so that's something you can hold on to, as long as, again, you don't like stab willy-nilly into things and just trying to get like, that's the thing with astrology and with all of this, you can always do whatever you want. It's just whether or not you're going to be paddling upstream against the energies that are current, or whether you're going to be with the flow and getting that kind of added boost. So if for you, and if that Pisces, if that Scorpionic desire to dive deep is really strong, and you still want to employ that even through a kind of stage of nebulous sort of meaning, you are always welcome to do so. It's just there are suggestions of how and when things might be easier, or an easier time to do so, or not. So this is never me prescribing you and telling you what you have to do. It's just a suggestion of, well, your energies might be better used more efficiently at different times in different ways. But in this case, that penetrative, knowing that there's always something deeper, is going to help you in this discernment. And if other people are trying to kind of put the wool over your eyes, you can kind of usually see a little deeper than that. So definitely you can lean on that strength without necessarily smacking people over the head with the hammer of it. So is there anything else I wanted to bring up here? This doesn't feel like this is going to look different for all of you in terms of what this concept is. It's a Page of Swords, so it's a beginner's mind on an idea or a belief, or a concept, or a communication as well. So it's going to look different for all of you what that is, but just be trying to be receptive to new thoughts and new ideas, and then bring them into the present to start creating, but don't necessarily like run full steam ahead of I got a new idea and now I have to implement it 100%. Like there is a bit of a measured pace to this, so you don't need to like chomp at the bit right away. I think I'm just going to leave it with that, other than just the reminder as well that air energy is light energy, light as in buoyant. And so try, if you do feel like in the heaviness of like general scorpionic energy, or the overwhelm of Pisces, that like there can be a lot of heaviness right now, but this is an invitation of, but that doesn't mean that there isn't also buoyancy and light and fun and play. And often the best way to get yourself through a heavy time is with play and humor. So that invitation is there with this card as well. So now I'm going to leave it with that. So that's it for the tarot horoscope. I'm going to let you know that at the equinox, beginning of Aries season, I'm going to be starting my first pay what you can tarot astrology forecast for the zodiac season. So for the season of Aries, this is going to be for the collective. It's not going to be individual per sign like these horoscopes. So it's relevant to everybody. So if you want to come and join me in March equinox and check out the pay what you can Aries season, it's going to be hosted on my YouTube channel here, so please come and check it out, and I wish you all the best in March.